This video will show typical usage of the Skewered Fencing Scoring Box with foil. Like with Sabre, right now the box is on, but nobody's plugged in for a while, so the box has gone to sleep. As soon as a fencer plugs in, it will turn on, and so once the other fencer plugs in, the box will go into the normal mode. Both fencers can test, verify they can hit. Again, like with Sabre, if a fencer hits late, it will be indicated with the late hit markings. And that can be very useful if you're just barely past the 300 millisecond cutoff time. As with the other two weapons, the box will retain the most recent timeline. Again, the timeline shows two vertical dark blue lines for the start of the lockout period, and then the second blue line on the right is the end of the lockout period. So for foil, the lockout period is 300 milliseconds and spans the bulk of the display here. You can see that here the fencer was just barely too late. Here's what might look like for a parry riposte in foil. Again, you can scroll back and you can see that the center line of the timeline, the orange pixels, indicates blade contact. So this was blade contact before any touch occurred, and then red hit first, and then green hit. So depending on the action, this could be a beat attack, it could be a parry riposte, but you can see the blade contact, and that can help inform your decision. Another convenient aspect of the timeline is it allows you to see the sequence of actions. In this case, the fencer hit off target first. To press the button, perhaps it's a faulty weapon, perhaps they hit the glove and then slid onto the lame. But in this case, they hit off target, which triggered the off target latching indicator light, and then afterwards hit on target. And you can clearly see that in this case. Here's another example where the fencer hit. Let's take a look at that. In this example, the left fencer hit on target, but then the blade may have slipped or gone back and hit the back hand. There was subsequent off-target action for the left fencer, and then the right fencer hit off-target, but after the lockout period. So if we see that again, this is what you would expect is there's a one light, and then there's the indication that the right fencer hit too late. Like with épée, with foil, there is the period indicator by default. The clock counts down. The passivity timer on the bottom counts up. The passivity timer is reset with any action. You can assign points or cards or P cards as necessary. Assigning P cards will reset the bout timer, or the passivity timer. And then when you get to the end of the time, and then you reset the break timer, it'll automatically increment the period by default. If you need to set the clock to a specific time, you can set it. And then after the time expires, hits will not be registered. Oh, I didn't time that quite right. There we go. If you reach the end of the third period and you need to assign a random priority, you can randomly assign priority. This also by default sets the clock to 1 minute. If you determine the priority external, like a coin flip or some other mechanism, and it's the opposite, you can switch the priority or turn it off. When the fencers unplug, the box will buzz because the fencers aren't connected or it seems to be an off target. After a couple hits, the box will detect that it is an idle situation, silence the buzzer, and the box will hang out here, but will eventually detect that the system is idle and the screen will go to sleep.